Welcome to another exciting episode. Today we'll continue talking about how to be a morning person. I want to focus today on some of the tips that we can apply the night before the morning where we want to wake up or the mornings. And I hope that this will help to decrease or eliminate that frustration, anger, cranky feeling you get when you wake up, because sometimes I think the problem is not waking up. Most times, from my personal experience and when I talk to other people, I think I could separate it into two categories. There's some that really find it very difficult to be awake, and I think that's a deeper sense. Maybe I would spend another episode to try and help those group of people. Please contact me if you have any questions, and if there's anything I really mentioned in passing that you really want me to talk in-depthly in. And then the other group of people are those who they really don't have a problem waking up, but your problem is majorly that feeling of discomfort you get, that low energy you get, that annoyance you get, that cranky state you get, and that inability to move on happily during the other part of the day that really gets frustrating and annoying. So you wake up early, but you don't have the joy, the fulfillment, the energy, and everything that you need to do. And even the task that you do, you're not able to give your best because it's not really working for you, and you want to really know how it works because you don't have a choice at this time but to be a morning person. Now, it all begins from the night before you go to bed. One of my most favorite quote when I started transitioning from being nocturnal to being an early riser and an excited one at that. Yay! I'm always excited in the morning, but I am working on keeping that excitement across the day, and being productive will be that state where a person can maintain a healthy energy and a consistent energy, keeping your competitive edge with your competitors and everyone who will be working with you and your team to be able to motivate them by that energy. So the night before this statement, I started reminding myself that sleep is what I ought to do when every other thing is meant to be done. I remember we shared some tips earlier in the episode 1. I'll try to repeat some of them. We said, of course, to wake up early, you have to sleep early, and you have to reduce that. How do I say it? There's something I want to say. I'm looking for the perfect way to say it. It has to be a gradual change. I think that's what I want to say. So if you usually sleep at 12, don't expect to fall asleep just at a particular time. I remember the first episode I said it may take a while for your body to adjust. So these tips are not some magical tips, okay? You have to be intentional in applying them and give it time to become that easy habit that you already have. So apart from taking back your sleeping time so that you can have more time to sleep, and apart from creating the right mood, the right atmosphere, I want to add something very important today, which is completing every task. Now, I tell myself sleep is the last thing to do when every other important thing that needed to be done the day before has been done. Everything that I could do. If I could do it, then there is no need to procrastinate. So the night before, make sure that you complete your task so that you don't have carryovers, because sometimes when the work is too much, I remember when I was a student, when I do not study, when I'm supposed to study or do my assignments early enough, one thing is that the desire to wake up in the morning is really, really annoying, because you're like, oh my God, there are a lot of things to do. And I think I understand some people when they say, I just couldn't wake up from bed, because it's overwhelming what you're rising up to. Either ways, without a carryover, life is already challenging, especially if you're walking through the path of purpose and crushing your goals and fulfilling your dreams. You already have enough to do for every day. The Bible says that sufficient is a day's trouble. So you should learn to complete your task before going to bed. Send that email, write that text message, complete that assignment. If you can do it, that's my principle. If you can do it now, then just do it now. It doesn't matter. If it's hard, do it. If it's easy, do it. Just do it, okay? So complete all of your tasks. I love to also journal and I love to plan ahead, because there is something about planning ahead that helps you to wake up in the morning. Most people I see that have a problem with waking up early. That's for the first group of people who cannot wake up, and then of course the second group of people I will address your challenge, those that wake up and don't feel very motivated. For the first set of people, I see regularly when I talk to them that the problem is that they just went to bed. First of all, they don't have a planned time to going to sleep. You must, I forgot to add that, you must have a planned time. I'm not saying that it will work all the time, but as much as possible, have a time, a fixed time when you go to bed. One thing that does for you is that it helps you regulate the amount of time you sleep, and over time, if you work at it, you can get a decent amount of sleep, and that's really needed for your mental, physical, emotional health in general, because if you don't sleep well, you're not going to have all the energy and the health you need to pursue everything that you want to do. So try to have a time to sleep. Now, in preparation for the next day, try to schedule when you want to wake up, because your time of sleeping, I can tell you, most of the time may be flexible. Maybe some days you had some meetings that pushed up, or some seasons you had to complete an assignment that pushed up to some certain times, and everything you will be able to work that around however it fits to you. But what I'm trying to say in the nutshell is that have a time to sleep, and before you go to bed, please have a time where you want to wake up. I don't love using alarms, like I said in the first episode, because I've come to find out that my mind is self-regulating and my body is self-regulating, and I told that our body needs to go through certain stage and level of sleep, so that when we complete that levels of sleep and those stages of sleep, when we wake up, we feel optimum. In between that, when we wake up, that's when we feel those crazy emotions and those feelings. And I have discovered a psychological hack in getting my body to get that amount of sleep. Now, regularly, maybe my body is trained. I've trained my body to have 4 hours of sleep, 5, 6, 7, 8 optimum hours of sleep regularly. But on this particular day, I have a big day, I have a big project, I've been working hard, and I've been keeping to my schedule, and I have been doing everything I wanted to do. But at this particular point, I really have to just work late and wake up early. You get that scenario, the picture I'm trying to paint. Now, one psychological hack I found out is that not just crashing into bed. When you crash into bed, your body is not aware mentally, psychologically, that we need to wake up in the morning. Because don't run by assumption, even if you're dealing with yourself, okay? Don't run by assumption. I think that's another topic for another day. Make sure that you actively impute into your system that although we're sleeping at 11:30, we're supposed to go to bed at 10, we ought to wake up at 4:30, because we have that meeting by 6 o'clock and we have to prepare for that meeting. So when you say that psychologically, I find out that your body puts that phase of sleep in between those times. I think that's where the concept of power naps come in, and somebody can sleep for 5 hours and feel good. Another person can sleep for 8 hours and feel good. So it's all about the mental state and the physiological state more than it is about the physical timing. So every time you go to bed, always log in. I call it log in. Log in the time you ought to wake up. And really, really amazingly, like I said, I hate alarms. So I try as much as possible to use them less. And really, I don't know how that works, but maybe if you practice and do the things that I'm doing, I believe it will work for you as well. I wake up before my alarms. I don't know how that happens, 1 minute, 2 minutes. And that's because I believe it's because of this logging in. I tell myself every day when I ought to wake up. I find out that the days that I'm careless about this particular practice, when I just go to bed, then sometimes it really works out some way. So for those of you who really have time difficulty in waking up, try and check. For most of the people, I got to notice that they don't really have a vision of when they should wake up. Some people is just so busy. They have a big day tomorrow. They work, get tired, and once they're done, they just, I hope to wake up early tomorrow before 6 hours. And then they go to bed, boom, and then they're late. I think that's the psychology that happens when you have a trip. Most late people I see, although they're still late, whatever, but sometimes a couple of people they're not late when they have a flight to catch, and that's because of the logging in. That on autopilot, your body already logs in that you have a flight. So that's why you wake up sometimes even at the middle of the night or at odd times or exactly at that time. That's what happens. But we can move ourselves from autopilot to intentionality in doing that. So that tip will really help you if you do that and practice that the night before. Every day, make it a habit to be able to log in the time to sleep so your body adjusts, runs you fast and quickly through the phase and the phases of sleep that will get you into that optimum level of productivity. Another thing I love to do as well is to place a task. First of all, you have to wonder, why do you have to wake up early? So you have to remind yourself, and that's where planners and journals really come in to help. Because when you have an activity, then your body gets to understand that, okay, it's a follow-up to when we're waking up, when we wake up, and these are the tasks that we ought to do. So I'll conclude here today. I'm sorry I'm not able to talk about those who wake up, don't have a problem with waking up, but they feel miserable. But I think thereabout we'll get there in this episode, okay? We'll get there to talk about that and address. So just keep watching, just keep listening. If you want to watch, then please go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Ogbe Edward, and then you can watch me there as I also share some productivity tips there. So I hope that when you apply these tips, they're going to help you to become a better morning person. Aside that, I'm signing out today. But remember, no matter how you feel, wake up, show up, and give your very best every single day. Bye.